Good evening, everyone. This is the official English voiceover of the financial results briefing for ExoWizards for the fiscal year ended March 2025. The original speaker is Representative Director and President and CEO Makoto Haruta, and English translation is by Yu Kunita from Investor Relationship Team. Before we get into the presentation, I have a few announcements. Presentation slides and other materials are on our website, so please check them as you need it. If you have any questions regarding to the financial results, let us know by contact forms on our website too. Now let's move on to the presentation. Thank you very much for taking time to join us today. As this is for the fiscal year ended March 2025, I would like to explain the full year fiscal financial results. First, as an executive summary overall, sales for the fourth quarter were 2.674 billion yen, and operating profit was 262 million yen. For the full year, sales were 9.811 billion yen, and operating profit was 23 million yen, which means we achieved our first full year profitability since our founding. At the beginning of this fiscal year, we started with the intention of firmly generating profit, and although there was some stagnation up to the third quarter, which may have caused some concern, and we did fall slightly short of our initial expectations, we managed to achieve our first full year profitability since our founding. I feel that we have finally become a company, and I believe we have taken an important step forward. The reason we're able to achieve this is, as we have discussed previously, largely due to the growth of our AI product business. Our original AI platform business is currently undergoing a business model transformation, and for the other service business, we are in the phase of taking on new challenges compared to the original model. I will touch on the detailed figure later, but in this way, the AI product business is driving growth. We are maintaining the AI platform business while changing its form, and in the other service business, we are taking on new areas. In this situation, although we achieved full year profitability this fiscal year, if you look only at the numbers, you may see that the fourth quarter was almost flat compared to the same period last year. However, the content was changed significantly, and I would like to touch on that as well. Based on the current situation, I will explain in detail later, but for the fiscal year ended March 2026, we are starting with the goal of increasing sales to 11.8 billion yen and achieving 1 billion yen in profit. Looking at the performance by quarter, it may have seemed that there was stagnation from the second to the third quarter, and profit fell as well. Although we still managed to remain profitable during the period, I believe we may have caused some concern. However, we managed to recover in the fourth quarter, resulting in the current situation. As you can see here, sales and profit are as shown, and EBITDA has reached about 900 million yen. In terms of being able to generate cash, I feel that we have finally become a company. Furthermore, toward the end of the fiscal year, in discussion with the auditor and others, as shown in item 5 here, we recorded a special loss this time. This was due to a review of past development asset at ExoWizards on a standalone basis and for the acquired subsidiary. As you can see here, Studium originally focused on sales agency as its main business. However, the growth of this business has been somewhat limited, partly due to its dependence on market condition. So we decided to take new challenges in different areas, and as a new business utilizing AI, they have started offering a service called Dr. Tell for the call centers. In this way, rather than simply providing personals, We are now attempting to develop a new BPO domain by offering both personal and system. However, when we conservatively consider the original sales agency business at the time of acquisition, we decided it would be prudent to review this area, which led to the current impairment. As for the software, we have developed various products and prepared a numerous algorithms over the years. However, with the recent emergence of generative AI, it has sometimes become faster to rebuild our newly developed asset using generative AI than rely on the existing asset. Additionally, some of our previous development products are no longer being accepted by customers. Taking these factors into account, we have decided to conduct a major impairment review. This results in a significant negative impact, and I would like to sincerely apologize for this outcome. On the other hand, as a result of proactively pursuing this development, we have expanded our customer base and gained a new insight. Although they are not always reflected on the balance sheet, we intend to continue actively taking on new challenges. At the same time, we will operate with caution to ensure that such one-time write-down do not occur in the future and that shareholder and investor do not perceive our asset as being impaired. Looking at the business by segments, we have divided into AI product, AI platform, and the other service. As you can see from the figure, the traditional AI platform business is centered generated 5.3 billion yen in sales for the full year, which is almost the same as the previous year, though profit have slightly decreased. At the bottom, you can see FTE, which indicates how many people are allocated to each segment. In reality, we have already shifted a significant number of members from AI platform business to AI product business. Therefore, in the traditional AI platform business, we have managed to maintain sales despite reducing personnel, while AI product business, where we are investing resource, it's steadily generating both sales and profit. Regarding AI platform business, we are currently shifting our business model from FTE service to a model focused on selling service products. Meanwhile, AI product business, which has already undergone a rapid transformation, has reached a certain scale in sales and achieved a profit margin of 21.4 for the full year. Looking at the AI product business in more details, on a quarterly basis, sales in the fourth quarter exceeded 900 million yen and segment profit also exceeded 400 million yen. The operating profit margin was over 40%, recorded 44.8%. There are many materials in this presentation, but from the perspective of showing our current situation, I believe this material is perhaps the most important. The fact that a product business is steadily growing and generating profit represents significant growth for the company. As a result, not only exhibits generative AI, but also exhibits DX assessment and learning, and other products have contributed to a year-on-year growth of 80.5 for the same period, indicating steady progress and receiving a certain level of external evaluation. The core driver here is exhibits generative AI in the center, and as you can see, from the number of adopters has been steadily increasing. Users are also growing, and as a result, continued usage has led to the solid increase in MRR. In about 2 years, we have achieved these numbers, but as I have mentioned before, if you look at the current situation, the number of users is still just over 80,000. Even with just over 80,000 users, our MRR is at this level, and our ARR is approaching 2 billion yen, and we are also generating profit. Therefore, if we can continue to increase the number of users at the core, we can expect further growth and develop in the future. In this context, I would like to talk again about how we have evolving our product. Regarding our product, our basic policy is to support multi-model, multi-LLM approach. Not only GPT, but also Cloud and Gemini are available, and we respond immediately to new APIs as they are ready. However, it is not just about having these technologies. We believe that technology must be used to be meaningful, so we are always conscious of how to make it easier for people to use. Therefore, we proactively incorporate features that should be included, preparing them in advance so that customer and user can use them easily. For example, we have implemented features that allow for analysis with the generative process or with RAG, enabling user to quickly import documents and accomplish their task. We aim to make the product easy to understand and use, so users do not have to worry about technol- technicalities. Additionally, as you all know, AI agents are a hot topic everywhere, so we are currently strengthening out efforts to accelerate agnification. As shown here, one example is using agents to operate browser, which is currently under consideration. If this becomes possible, we believe that the agent can replace or upgrade the RPA process commonly used in a large enterprise, essentially creating an evolved version of a RPA. We are discussing and experimenting with customer on this front. Furthermore, distinctive feature of our company is not only the evolution of our product, but also commitment to supporting customers and how to use it. We are enhancing our support not only with our team, but also involving partner companies. To further develop this, we have established a joint venture with Koku, as announced yesterday, to strengthen our support in this area. We are working to make AI more user friendly, and at the same time, we are expanding our own product. For example, our AI, IR assistant have steadily increased its customer base in fiscal year 2025, reaching 100 companies. Some comments are included here, but as I mentioned earlier, we are focused on improving usability. How can we make it easier for people to use, and what would make it more appealing and practical in the field? We are supporting this form from technical perspective, and by adding human support, we are working to ensure that our products are actually used. We are continuing to push these initiatives forward, of course. We will provide as much support as possible, but ultimately customers themselves need to take the lead. In this context, I believe that focus will increasingly shift to human resource development. We have received feedback from customer, and while Daya was originally an assessment tool, it has been accepted by customer as a way to understand what kind of people are in this organization. The number of test takers has been steadily increasing, and we have accumulated a significant amount of data. As a result of these efforts, we are currently combining data derived from the results of Daya and employee evaluation data held by companies. By cross-referencing these data sets, we are able to interpret the data more effectively. Now we are beginning to explore ways to make internal personnel evaluations less subjective and more data-driven. We are already working on this as a project with certain clients, and we plan to offer this as a formal service in the future. Until then, our business will continue to provide systems for personnel transfer and organizational management. And at the same time, we are also challenging ourselves to see if these solutions can be applied to recruitment as well. The use of new AI technologies in the HR domain is just beginning to emerge. On the other hand, from the perspective of our client companies, I believe that discovering and developing talent capable to utilizing such AI will become a major theme going forward. Therefore, we intend to further evolve the current DIA asset assessment approach as a result for this evolution. We also want to review and enhance the way we support our client companies. Next, I would like to talk again about AI platform business. As I mentioned earlier, unfortunately, the numbers are down compared to the previous fiscal year. However, since our initial goal for 2025 was to at least maintain a flat performance, I think we are more or less on track. As we have been allocating non-members, we have also been discussing how to respond to client needs and requests, and as a part of this, we have started to standardize our sales patterns. I believe this is finally starting to take effect. Meanwhile, one of our ongoing strategies is the so-called AI Guru Guru model, which involves creating a new product based on the feedback from our clients. Recently, this has led to the development of Exabase role-playing and Exabase meeting summary. Since we are making upfront investment in developing such products within the AI platform business, there are inevitably associated costs. However, this is also one of the key features of our approach, and we intend to continue fulfilling this role as an engine for new service and product creation. As I have mentioned repeatedly, our business model is shifting away from simply providing consulting service through human research alone. Instead, we are focusing on selling service product with human support provided alongside as needed. We are in the process of transforming our business model in this way, and we hope to further advance this transformation in the current fiscal year. At the center of this transformation is Exabase Studio. Currently, the productivity of each salesperson has improved, and the number of Exabase Studio users also increasing. However, as I mentioned earlier, profit margins are still in the transitional phase, and due to the prior investment, we are still slightly in the red compared to the previous period. Nevertheless, as we continue to promote the use of Exabase Studio, we expect license sales to grow. Furthermore, we will strengthen integration with the Exabase generative AI, which is being developed as a separate product. Through this, we believe new service and business model will emerge, and this will be a major theme of the AI platform business in the current fiscal year. Lastly, regarding the other service business, most of the revenue comes from the sales outsourcing, which is subject to seasonal fluctuation and the economic condition of our clients. However, we have reached a point where we can generate stable revenue and solid profits. As mentioned earlier, by providing our own product in this area, we are also making new inroad into the BPO domain. We are currently considering entering new business domains, and once we have concrete figures and other details, we would like to announce them in public. So, there were our financial results up to the fiscal year ended March 2025. From here on, I would like to discuss our future mid to long term strategies, as well as our full year forecast for the fiscal year ending March 2026. I would also like to talk about how we perceive the current environment. Many of you have already seen this, but this is the AI roadmap presented by OpenAI. The first stage is chatbot, followed by reasoners, and now we are seeing the emergence of AI agents. In the future, further inventions will occur by innovators, and at the fifth stage, it is envisioned that AI will be able to perform the operations of entire companies and organizations, leading to creation of so-called AI companies. As CEO Sam Altman and others have commented, what they truly desire is the creation of new knowledge, not just highly capable AI on par with humans, but AI that can provide solutions in way humans cannot, and that can solve problems on its own. This is what they expect, and they say that this is what artificial general intelligence (AGI) will be able to do. And historian Harari has also said, we are entering a worldview where it is entirely conceivable that entities of other than human could possess a true intelligence. As for what exactly will be possible, the answer may be that we still cannot imagine everything, but what is certain is that the range of things AI can do will expand dramatically. Within this context, when I consider things from perspective of our company and myself as a manager, even if technology emerges that may surpass previous technologies, with employees working hard at the company, we must challenge ourselves to determine how best to utilize AI in a people-centric, label-intensive organization to create a better company. I believe this is how it should be. As a manager, I must consider how AI can be used, and I believe we are now in the phase where managers must seriously think about the integration of management, and it is used to be called IT. In our company as well, when we try to expand our business, we often face a shortage of personnel, and we hear the same from our clients. But we think about it, will there always be a shortage of people in the future? In Japan, of course, there is the issue of a declining population, but as a range of what can be done expands, we need to consider in what phases and in what business domains shortage people will actually occur. Even in our business like ours, recently, the time it takes for new graduates or mid-career hires to become immediately effective has become extremely short. With new tools constantly emerging, previous experience can now be substituted by such tools, enabling the fastest possible ramp up. Given this, we must seriously consider what kind of people we should hire and what kind of HR and talent strategies we should have. Even now, Microsoft from January to March 2025 has achieved high record sales and record quarterly profit, but as announced on May 13th that they are cutting 6,000 people. In 2023, they also cut 10,000, so that's about 16,000 were eliminated. While business revenue is expanding, they are further reducing headcount, and as a result, the funds that were previously invested in people are now being redirected to AI system. This is already being seen in leading companies, and I believe we are now in the phase where Japanese companies and other business corporations must consider how they will move forward. According to some surveys, not only is the market expanding, but there are also expectations that investment in the use of AI agents will become more active even within Japan. Although we have mentioned that prospect of activation, what I would practically like you to look at here is that percentage of management considering the use of AI agents. Even among a management, 72% of them are now feeling that they have considered AI agents. However, I have the impression that there are still very few cases where it is clear in which specific areas agents will be introduced and how exactly to proceed. On the other hand, as shown here, the number of companies with a clear intention to proceed, or those who have the will to do so, is increasing significantly, at least from our own perspective. And therefore, there while there are still many areas that need to be considered and many things we need to work on together, I believe that we should do it to support those business leaders who feel this way in the future. The way we work and even the definition of human resource may change. In that context, as a company and for ourselves as well, we want to consider together what we can do for the society, and move forward together. What we want to achieve is in this context as follows. Even now, as the barrier system evolve, we receive inquiries and ask for support, and we actually provide manpower. But I believe that the evolution of technology this time is precisely about being used on the front lines. Because of this characteristic of being used and created on the front lines, I believe that companies and their employees themselves should put this into practice. Of course, we will assist in the introduction phase, but while we provide some support, I believe it is extremely important for a company to quickly incorporate this into their own organization. In other words, what we should do is to help realize a world where companies themselves create and utilize agents to improve productivity, and we should think about what we can do to make that happen. As I mentioned earlier, the external environment is rapidly evolving with LLMs, and it is no longer just about POCs. Support for AI utilization is now prerequisite prerequisite for implementation. In this context, I think that what employees want and should do first is to start making their current work easier. For example, creating documents. This is something that is already being said in many places as something AI can do, and I believe many people are already using it. Starting from making their own work easier, what needs to be done going forward is to improve the productivity of the entire company, which ultimately means changing and redefining the ways work is done. Therefore, we would like to consider together how the task of creating documents should be in the future, and we would like to support that. When considering what can be done with AI, it naturally comes down to how to use the company's own data. As shown on the right regarding infrastructure data, we need to consider how to make these things easy to use while ensuring security, and we would like to provide such solutions to our customer in the future. Therefore, we have originally been an AI business supporting company, but we must change this. Given the current technology evolution, we believe that we must transform into the business oriented AI agent service company. Looking back from our founding to our listing, our business model was high unit price, project based model, as shown here, where we charge by man month and build our business that way. More recently, we have also been providing product service or SaaS in parallel with the project based business model. Going forward, what we need to do is not just simple SaaS, but to provide a platform where customers themselves can create and use solutions. I believe that is necessary to shift our business model in this way. In other words, we ourselves will provide AI agents to our customer, but not only that, we will also provide a system that allows customers to create and operate their own agents. I think our business model will change in this direction. Currently, our consultants who work with customer are not just providing support for implementation, but the way we propose and support our solution is also changing. As we move forward with these initiatives, we have organized our internal approach, which is shown here. As you can see, we are thinking from the user's perspective and considering the added value we provide. When we think about how users will use generative AI in the future, as Sam Altman mentioned earlier, if AGI emerges, it might be possible to leave everything to it, but we don't know when that will happen. And therefore, for the time being, I believe that agents that can be used in specific domains will appear first. We call this domain tailored AI agents, and we are currently working to propel them. So while we are preparing these agents, at the same time, we think it is fine to make it possible to call these specific agents from the current chat based generative AI, such as GPT. Instead of leaving everything to a single agent or chat, we think it is better to call that appropriate agent from the chat as needed. Therefore, we are focusing on creating agents that can be called and operated individually, as well as providing the mechanism to run through. Furthermore, in order to operate these agents, customers need to be able to use their data effectively and securely. We must consider how to organize and ensure security when using this data. We are planning to offer these aspects as service in the future. So we are not only providing agent ourselves, but also providing mechanisms for customers to create and use agents. This is what we are aiming to do. Additionally, as shown in point 4, we would like to continue forming strategic partnership to promote these initiatives. For example, the strategic partnership with NTT Communications announced today that depending of our business alliance with Fukuoka Financial Group announced previously to enhance our service offerings, and the recent establishment of joint venture with Koku for support enhancement. These are just a few examples, but since we cannot proceed alone, we would like to move forward by collaborating with various companies. There's a lot we can do, but there are also many things we cannot do alone. So we want to expand what we can achieve by strengthening our relationship with partners. When we look at our business environment for this time being, there are many new LLMs emerging and various competitors, but in terms of having user side companies actually use our solutions, I believe the real growth is yet to come. In this context, the companies have a strong willingness to invest, so I think the market environment is extremely favorable. As I mentioned earlier, we want to build our business by providing our agents and the mechanisms to create agents to do these companies. Given this environment and the service we can provide, we believe that at minimum, we must achieve at least 20% sales growth. If we do so, our sales will double within 5 years. As for profits, as I mentioned earlier, as our product business grow, our profit margins are also very high. We also have a tangible sense ourselves that we can reliably generate profits. So as sales continue to grow, we believe that profits will forward accordingly. As a result, I mentioned earlier, we are planning to achieve sales for 11.8 billion yen this fiscal year and aim for a profit of 1 billion yen. Every year, when we present these figures, we are naturally asked how achievable they are. But looking at the current situation in this first quarter, I would like to explain a bit about this. On the left side, you see the fourth quarter of the fiscal year ended March 2024, and the next two is the fourth quarter of the fiscal year just ended March 2025. As I mentioned earlier, sales are almost flat, but context has changed significantly. Currently, the proportion of the product has increased considerably. So as the product ratio increase, profits are also increasing as I mentioned earlier. If you look at the right, in the previous fiscal year, from the fourth quarter to the first quarter, sales decreased from 2.6 billion yen to 2.1 billion yen, a decrease of 500 million yen. As I mentioned before, since our business is often project basis or centered on human resource service, and many companies close their books in March, there tends to be a lot revenue recorded at the end of the fiscal year, which results in a decrease in the first quarter. As a result, sales have always decreased from the fourth quarter to the first quarter, and last year, this decrease was 500 million yen. This also affected profits, resulting in decrease from 220 million yen to just under 300 million yen. So the decrease in the sales directly led to the decrease in operating profit last year. Although for this fiscal year, the proportion of the product in sales is increasing, and within that, the recurring ratio is also increasing. Therefore, for the fourth quarter to the first quarter, we can see that sales will not decrease as much as before. Since the AI product business segment is not expected to decrease significantly, although there is some seasonality in the project-based part, and even taking that into account, the decrease will not be as large as last year. On the profit side, product with high recurring ratio are supporting profits. So even if sales decrease slightly, we believe that unlike last year, we will not fall into the red. Furthermore, the decrease in depreciation expense due to the decline would also contribute. So for the fiscal year, we expect to generate solid profit from the first quarter. Of course, generating profit for the full fiscal year is important, but if we can avoid a negative first quarter, we believe we can build up a profit through the year. Now that we are finally becoming a company that we can generate profits for the full year, I believe this fiscal year will determine whether we can enter a phase of further growth. Since this is the first quarter, we want to steadily build up we can do while achieving our numbers. This is how I feel at the moment. That concludes my financial result explanation, and I apologize for going a bit over time. Thank you very much.